We are a coalition of base building organizations working on a myriad of issues that include things like criminal justice, juvenile justice, reproductive justice, also economic opportunity for communities of color throughout the state of Louisiana, with the idea of really building power for people that haven't traditionally had a voice in our state. So much of the work of the Power Coalition is about doing people-centered work that puts the folks that are closest to the problem, directly in a position to be able to have an opportunity to inform the answer. After Hurricane Katrina, and it would just be a handful of advocates in the Capitol fighting for issues here and there. And what would happen was that Norris Henderson would win something one year, another group would win something the next year. We start a really good fight one year and then lose the next year. And so this was about how do we actually build power? I'm not really interested in never moving the needle, right? Our politicians and our politics don't match those values and the kind of goodness that you find in people in Louisiana, and how do we bridge that gap? And so Norris Henderson, Ming Wen, and myself went to Panera Bread. Guys, look, I'm tired of playing these, I'm tired of playing the game and not winning. I feel like we could actually think about answering the question, what does it mean to build a pathway to power for the people that we serve and that we represent? And then what was the policy change that was going to be necessary? And then also how could we create a credible threat around, the fact that if you are a candidate and or an elected official and you don't want to or don't have the will to do the work of the people, then you won't get elected in the state, or nor would you be able to keep your office. One of the things that we do is called integrated voter engagement. And what integrated voter engagement is how do you use all the tools that we have to move the needle on the issues that we care about. And so whether it be canvassing or phone banking or text messaging, policy advocacy, lawsuits, that whole kind of wheel of change, that you're using all the tools at your disposal to move people to a place where they're consistently speaking up, where they're consistently challenging things that don't feel right or, are in line with what they elected their elected officials to do on their behalf. If they're not, so it's both if they're doing the right thing and if they're doing the wrong thing. And so, I do feel like that's the power of coalition, and I think that if you use power as the frame, and not power for power's sake, but power that's deeply rooted in love and in people, and with people at the center of that, I think you really get to the heart of what we're trying to do. In order to have power, legislative power, you've got to get, those 54 votes on the House side and 21 votes on the Senate side. And in order to effectively do that, you've got to have power in central and northern Louisiana as well. And so we've really been intentional about building power as a coalition together across the state. We've actually grown together. It hasn't been growth that has just been about, we need to have relationships in central and north Louisiana. It's actually been about how do we build where our partners already have energy and have already been talking to and working with people in community. You have to do civic engagement. You have to talk to people in community, because policy and advocacy that's divorced from directly impacted folks doesn't work. It doesn't work. And so again, there are all these pieces to this nice shiny Cadillac, but without the engine, it doesn't move. It's pretty, looks good, but it doesn't move. We for too long have relied on this idea that people are resilient, and so we don't therefore have to fix the situation that forced me to be resilient in the first place. And resilience is about stretching yourself for a short period of time, so until the problem that's causing you to stretch yourself can be fixed. And then I can go back to a normal, right? And I think that what we've asked people to do is just to live a life where you're constantly stretching yourselves. I always think of the concept of Ubuntu. Because of you, I am, and this idea that we are connected, that we do need to be more connected and more thoughtful about our whole community and not just me making it, or individualism of the whole kind of pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality that I think kind of reigns supreme. And it's well, actually, if you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you fall on your ass. But I just think that it's some of us don't have, it's not fair when some of us are starting the fight with no boots, or no straps. So we don't all have access to the same opportunities. And to the extent that we don't have access to the same opportunities, is unbelievable. My vision is one where we continue to win. We continue to break down these systems of oppression, that we bring folks into a more clear understanding of what the impacts are of these oppressive systems on our communities, on families, on in this place that we call home. And I often tell folks that everything I love is in this place, and so I have to change the place.